probably in the low 50s, and the air temperature was maybe 45 degrees. So it was chilly towards dusk when the sun was setting, and when I reached the bridge, I could not duck under it. Even as low as I am, there was only about 7 inches or so clearance. And I was wondering, was I spending the night in the Wertheim Preserve? Now, my life was not in danger, but I didn't know how, really, at first, to get under this bridge and return to where my car was parked. And what I ended up doing was actually tilting the kayak enough that I was able to almost be parallel with the water and with one hand on the girders of the bridge, I was able to pull myself under and get through. But it was really a harrowing experience.
I would say so. I mean, do you have a cell phone with you when you do these things?
Well, everything you bring on the water is in danger.
Yeah,
and that particular day, I did not have a cell phone with me. But sometimes I do carry one in a waterproof bag.
I have a waterproof bag.
But not that day.
It always happens that way. Well, I'd like to move on to the technical issues of producing a picture book, because most of the guests that I have on, I've had a couple of people with picture books, but most of them are, they're novels, they're not picture books. So what processes go into producing a picture book?
Well, it's actually very interesting. We have to talk about the creative aspects of deciding what photographs you want to include. And over the years, I've been kayaking for some 10 years and taking pictures probably for most of those years. And you have to sort through all of your photographs and decide which ones you're going to include. And then on the writing side, you have to try to mirror those photographs in some type of descriptions or some type of storytelling. So from the creative point of view, that's really the first choice. And then after that, you have to, the production process is an interesting one. With digital photography, it's much easier than it used to be. And actually, it's interesting because I actually did the layout for this book using a graphic software called InDesign. Now, my background is in video and graphics and sound, so it's not.
So you're good at it.
It's not unusual for me to tackle something like this, but I didn't really know how to do it. And I did some researches and talked with some artists. One particular friend of mine, Rosa Patterson, who has always helped me with the graphic looks of my books, helped me with this one as well. And we sat and talked about design. I wanted to approach it from a simplistic point of view and not make the interior pages very complicated. So my choices were 5x7 photographs on a 8.5 size square book, which was something that I could find a publishing company was able to print. There's also the economy, the economics of such a picture book. Color photos are expensive to print. And the cost, the per book cost, the retail price of a book can be very expensive. So you have to weigh the value of putting together a book. Is it going to be something that people will want to spend their money on? And that's a hard choice.
Yeah, I went through that with I had my first 2 books republished because I have a wonderful illustrator, and she, my books are really for young people, so I wanted to have, they're chapter books, but I wanted to have some illustrations. And she did the most beautiful illustrations, and the color was so fabulous, and I couldn't put them in color. They're in there in black and white because no one would buy the book for the price that they would have to charge because of the color photography.
Yeah. I was fortunate that I found a publishing company, in this case Dog Ear Publishing, who had a package available that I was able to purchase. And each time I added a photograph to the book, it became more expensive. Each time you add a page, it becomes more expensive. So there has to be some serious choices in the number of pages as well as the number of photographs. The book contains roughly 75 color photographs.
That's a lot.
Of scenic and wildlife photographs, and also a few historical mentions here and there. There a map and some other references that help people when they read the book to understand the waterways and enjoy and find the book entertaining, which is something you must do.
Yes. Yes, but
as far as the technical aspects, it's InDesign is an Adobe program, and years ago there used to be other programs that were more popular, but InDesign right now is probably the premier publishing software for creating interior books or posters or any of that sort of thing.
Do you think that it's because people are now more computer literate that programs that might have previously only been used by graphic designers, now people will try them. You know, the layperson will try them simply because most of us are more computer literate than we have, and things are easier on the computer.
I would say yes and no.
Okay.
No, because you really have to have a graphic sense to understand layout, the use of color, and where things, in terms of layout, where things fit on the page. Yes, because it's fun to do, and you sit there on your computer and you can explore and have fun doing it. But I would think if you're not graphically experienced, that you have to obtain the help of an artist, a graphic artist, and you know, whether you hire somebody or whether you have a friend that could sit with you and help you, I think that would be the way to go.
Yeah, well, I think that an endeavor like this that is really going to cost you some amount of money, you really want a professional opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
Winging it alone, if you're not a professional, if you're
Sure.
not a graphic designer, I think is a chancy business
Yes.
because it's an investment.
Well, even myself, for example, that with my background in video and graphics, that I made sure that I had experts helping me. First expert I'd had to find was a bird expert, because as much as I know about the birds, I wanted to ensure that I had no errors, either in the naming of the birds or the descriptions of the birds. So I sought an expert, and luckily found Stephen D'Amato, who is a member of the Great South Bay Audubon Society.
Yes.
And he was wonderful in helping me along.
John, tell me, it's such a big project and a beautiful project. What's the most satisfying aspect of this to you?
One of the things I particularly like, and it really wasn't, I didn't think of it beforehand. It occurred to me after. Because when I'm paddling out on the water, one of the things I really enjoy is in the settings, the environment. And I see pollution everywhere that I paddle, in the put-in places and along the water. You see what people leave behind on the surface. But I'm very aware of the water underneath Long Island, and that's our drinking water. So I made a big push in the website and also in my speaking engagements, because as you know, I do lectures and photo workshops. And I try to emphasize to everyone the importance of our water supply, protecting it, and preserving the waterways and the land around the waterways. It's very, very important. And it's satisfying for me that I can give back something to all Long Islanders.
Sure, sure. That is a very satisfying aspect. And you can find John's events and on the LIAG website, that's longislandauthorsgroup.org, and you can also find them on his website, which is his name, right? It's
Waterviews.
Waterviews.
Book.com, one word.
Waterviewsbook.com,
Yeah,
which is probably up there on the screen now and again. Anything else?
Yeah. Well, one of the things on the website is a link to all of the environmental groups.
Good.
So people I'm often asked, what can I do to get involved?
Right,
And
right.
conserving water, joining an organization, and finding out how you support preserving water on Long Island. It's crucial.
Okay, so after I mention the website,